They've been blasting out East Bay area rock and funk for more than 45 years. Founding member, sax player Emilio Castillo has been there for every note. In addition to more than 24 Tower of Power records he's played on, you can hear his horns on records by Santana, Elton John, Hart, John Lee Hooker, Elvin Bishop, and many, many more. This Saturday night, you can catch Tower of Power live with Journey and the Steve Miller Band at the White River Amphitheater. Also pick up a new CD. It's a live CD, Hipper Than Hip, which features a classic Tower of Power and studio radio performance from 40 years ago. And links to tickets for the show and information are at bobrivers.com. Emilio Castillo. Is it Castillo? I got to make sure I say it right. Hi, Emilio. Welcome to the Bob Rivers Show.
Hi, Bob. How you doing?
Good. Hey, first off, congratulations. What a career. What an amazing success, and still going strong.
We are still going strong. That's for sure.
Yeah. And you tour you tour pretty constant, right?
Yeah, we're out about 200 days a year.
200 days a year?
Yeah, that includes, days off and travel days on the road,
Wow, but that's a lot. That's a lot of time. You still get some free time. What do you do in your off time?
I study my Bible, I hang with my kids, and just enjoy being home.
I heard that about you. I heard you're a real family, religious guy, very grateful for everything you have.
I have good reason to be.
Are your kids musical?
My three at home are very musical, and my two older girls, one of them is kind of a music expert, but she's not a player. She just knows all kinds of genres, and she was actually hired by Scandis to make mixtapes for an answer to the iPod that they were contemplating.
Wow.
So, yeah, they all have great ears, and the three at home play.
No kidding. And do you have do you live music? I mean, do you have a recording studio at home, and do you noodle around and work and play even when you're not touring? Do you do session work?
I do not. I'm one of the main writers in the band, and once in a while I'll write a bit at home, but that's usually when somebody coerces me into it. I'm not one of these people. Every day I write. My partner's like that. My partner Doc. Every day he's got a notebook with him. He's writing down ideas, but I just, when somebody wants to write, we make an appointment, we get together, and we write.
So you
at home,
you unplug.
At home, I'm just into the family.
Yeah, you unplug, and you have an not an alter ego, but you have a regular normal life. Are there people in your normal life that don't know that you're one of the founders of Tower of Power?
Well, they all pretty much know it, but that's not our relationship.
Right. With the ordinary people. Yes, Joe.
Tower Power horn section is played on so many things. How does it go when Neil Diamond or Elton John or Hart or somebody like that wants to hire you guys? Is it like an hourly deal and you just go in there and you blow it out, or when you get on these big hit records, do you get some of that?
Usually, it's like a 3-hour session. Sometimes if there's more than one tune, if there's 2 or 3 songs, it might be a 6-hour session. We've had occasion when we did the Sgt. Pepper movie with George Martin producing. That was 3 days of recording all day long.
I hope you didn't get any back end money on that.
It's a session.
Sorry.
What's that?
I say generally it's just a 3-hour recording.
And so it's typically session fees is what Joe was curious
about.
There's
a session fee. We get a little more than union scale.
Of course, it's the Tower of Power.
We got a name, and they put the name on the record, so they pay us double what the scale is. And, we go there, and before we go, they give us a copy of what they want, and we give it to our arranger, who knows how to arrange our horn style. And he does the arrangement before we get there, and we go in and read it down. And if there's any changes that the guy wants, we're very adaptable and can come up with different fixers or whatever needs to be done.
It was last year that Hart, our Seattle band, was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and Tower of Power famously played the horns on "Even It Up," I believe. Right? Do you remember anything from that session?
I remember working with them very well, and I watched them get inducted on TV. I was very proud of them, and they're great people. They were always very gracious to us. We played on a big hit that they had called "Tell It Like It Is," And then we did Even It Up, and then we did a little bit of touring with them. We opened for the Rolling Stones, playing with them, and we did about 6 or 7 dates where it was 5 super rock bands, and they were headlining bands like Foghat and Def Leppard and stuff like that. And but we would play those 2 songs, and we would also do Chain of Fools, and they would bring out our sax player Lenny Pickett to play flute on Dog and Butterflies.
Wow. Wonderful life, all this touring. You guys just have this good luck charm aspect about you. In fact, in San Francisco, the sports teams consider you good luck because you play the Star-Spangled Banner at championship playoff games, right? You're basically, you're their charm, and they tend to win when you play, correct?
Well, not always. But
not always, because last year, did you play? I was curious about that. Last year, the Seahawks had a good luck charm. Do you know what the Seahawks had? They had Ann Wilson sing the national anthem at the San Francisco game. Do you remember that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We good luck charmed you on that one.
Worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it worked out really good for you guys. Well, you know what? You guys didn't need no luck.
Oh, thank you for that.
We had Ann Wilson and Richard Sherman. It worked out pretty well.
It did help.
Yeah,
all right,
yeah, man, and Russell Wilson too. I mean, that's some kind of football team.
The guys you're out with now, Steve Miller and Journey, I know you've known Journey for decades because you played on their stuff way back, and Steve Miller was hanging around the Bay Area a lot in the 60s and early 70s too, so I'm guessing this isn't your first time playing with either one of those acts.
We played with Journey before. I'm not sure if we played with Steve Miller before, but we used to go. I used to know a lot of the guys in his band in the '80s when he had all those hits in the '80s, and I used to go see them play a bit. And but I actually never met him, and I just met him on the tour. And really nice guy. And we're getting ready to do a little jam together. Actually, he's going to come sing a song with us. And we're going to play a song. Our horns are going to play with his band, and then Neil Sean is supposed to come and play "What Is Hip" with us, and we're going to go play "Love and Touch and Squeezing" with them.
So
that's going to happen in the Bay Area?
In the Bay Area. What about at the White River Amphitheater on July 19th?
I don't think so. No.
Nothing's going to happen.
Sorry, hold on a second. He's still bitter about the Seahawks.
He is.
I think.
You're right. That's it.
We'll be lucky if you
let us win. About a different story.
Yeah, we could do something different.
We'll be lucky if they even show up to play for us.
Yeah. You made a choice, and you have to suffer the consequences.
Emilio, there is a story about you, and it's a bio story, and I'm sure you've told it many times, but I was really touched by it. You might never have been a musician if not for some great guidance by your father, and I assuming this story is accurate because I read it on Wikipedia, and they never get anything wrong. Also, you farm vegetarian llamas. I also read on Wikipedia. So, but this was something your father did when you were a little boy. He was reprimanding you and told you to think of something to keep yourself off the street. Is that right?
Yeah, I was 14 years old, and it was summertime, and me and my brother, who's 10 months older, and the kid around the corner, Jody Lopez, we were going to the swimming pool at Washington High, and we always went through the shopping mall, the Fremont Hub, and there was a Mervyn's there, and at the time, these T-shirts were very popular. They called them Muscle Man T-shirts. They were very tight, high-necked T-shirts in multiple colors, mostly like, exotic colors like copper and, peach and turquoise. And so, all the young men wanted to wear those shirts in the summertime. And we had the great idea that we'd go in the dressing room, put on a couple of those shirts, throw our shirt over it and walk out.
Yeah.
It was my first, foray into thievery. And I had a really short crime career. I was caught the first time out.
Yeah. And you're grateful that you were, right? I'll bet.
I am. I'm very grateful. I went out, and the manager stopped me, and they called my dad, and my dad came down, and the next day he made us go and apologize to the store manager, and he gave me a notebook, and he said, "You're going to fill this notebook with the reason why you're never going to steal again as long as you live, and while you're in there figuring out what to write, I also want you to think about what you're going to do to keep you out of trouble and off the streets, or you're never coming out of that room again." And Jody had just come back from Mexico, vacation in Mexico, and he had gotten a guitar, and the Beatles had just come out, and we said, we want to play music, Dad.
Wow.
And he said, get in the car. And he took us to Allegro Music, and he said, anything you want. And I pointed to the saxophone because when I used to go to my dad's work, they had show bands there. And sometimes he would let us come down there and see the band. And the sax player was always the cool guy, so I wanted the sax. And my brother always thought the drummer was the cool guy, so he got a snare drum. And we did it backwards. We didn't practice for years and years and then join a band. We started the band that day, and then we learned how to play.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, do you think of it, it's a little ironic in a way that shoplifting led to a shopping spree, isn't it?
Well, doesn't God always use those kind of things?
I think so.
It's amazing the way he works. He'll take the worst scenario and turn it into something good.
Something good came out of it. And your dad, what a brilliant thing. If you had, and you ever thought of it? If the owner had not caught you, if you had gotten away with that shirt, that could have been a turning point the wrong way for your whole life.
I thought about that at some point about, 15 years ago. I was in an airport, and I started thinking there was like 5 big decisions that my dad made that affected my life dramatically for good. For one, he moved us to the Bay Area when I was 11. He did that thing when I got caught stealing. He advised me to hire my songwriting partner, my baritone sax player, the Funky Doctor. And then when I was having a problem with the draft, he advised me with that. And, had he not done that, my life would be dramatically different.
Did he tell you, don't go to Canada, you're never going to get back in? Or
No, what happened was everybody was trying to get out of the draft. By this point, everybody was burning their draft cards, and, all our friends were dying in Vietnam, and I was afraid, And so I didn't sign up for the draft. And I was worried, and my number was on the front page. They would post the numbers, and if your number was high, you were going over, and my number was high. And I went to my dad and I said, I'm afraid. And he says, what's going on? And I said, well, I'm supposed to sign up for this draft, but my number's really high and I haven't done it. And he says, have you heard anything from anyone? And I said, no. And he said, don't worry about it. They probably think you're a girl.
Emilio.
And that was it. I didn't sign up, and then shortly after that, Nixon pardoned everybody that didn't sign up for that.
You've been Emilio. You've been recording and touring continuously. I didn't know that. I just read that today. Since 1968, so that's 45 years of touring. With I'm sure you've had breaks, but more or less nonstop. What is it you love about touring, and what is there, if there's one thing you could wish you didn't have to have touring, you could do without?
Well, if you could tour without traveling, which would be very difficult.
That's impossible, yeah.
Sometimes the travel gets to you. It's amazing how, just sitting on a plane can tire you more than doing hard work. I mean, sometimes we take just, a day of travel. We'll fly to a place, everybody meets at the airport, we get on the bus, we go to the hotel. By the evening, we're trashed, and I never really understood that, but it's a fact, and we have to accept it, So travel is really the hardest part. But, as far as touring, it's all I've ever done. I love it. Over the years, I've learned to hire people that are not only great musicians, but are sane and have good principles. So I have great people that I work with, and I enjoy being with them. And, we see the world. We eat lots of great food. We got friends all over the place. And I got plenty of time to be with my family as well.
That's wonderful. All right, we're looking forward to seeing you. Maybe you could put together a little jam session for us here on July 19th. We'll see what happens.
You never know. Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened. White River Amphitheater, Tower of Power with Journey and Steve Miller Band. Emilio, thank you very much. All the best to you, sir.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.